Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Chit Chatting with Kate Carr. Thank you for joining in on another video. We're going down the AITAH Reddit thread, which is such a good go-to because there's always a story on there that we can chat about. But first things first, be sure to get comfy, get cozy, grab your favorite beverage. I'm batch filming, so I'm actually continuing my smoothie, which is why it's literally almost done. I just had a coffee not that long ago, and I wanted to film a little bit earlier than normal, so we have the very end of a strawberry, raspberry, almond, chia seed concoction, which was delicious and nutritious, before we recaffeinate again because my body wants another coffee already. Be sure to let me know what you are sipping on in the comments below. What is your beverage of choice for today, morning, afternoon, night, midnight, whenever you are watching this? I hope you enjoyed today's video. Be sure to catch up on my previous ones where we talk TikTok, different Reddit threads. I'm always open to suggestions as well, so be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, all the YouTube things, so that way I can continue creating the content that I enjoy creating, that you enjoy consuming, that YouTube enjoys promoting, so we continuously can build this gal pal community we have over here on Chit Chatting with Kate Carr. So what I do is I usually go through just like the Reddit thread, and whatever title pops out to me, that's what we go with, and then we'll just blind react together. Let's get into the first story of, am I the asshole for getting a woman fired over VeggieTales? My wife and I unfortunately have our son in daycare. It's unavoidable. A few months ago, I picked him up, and when I asked him about his day, he told me about a show they watched with cartoon vegetables. When I dropped him off the next day, I asked the teacher if they watched VeggieTales. She said they didn't show the kids anything inappropriate. I asked, but did they watch VeggieTales? She refused to give me a straight answer. I said, I don't want him watching VeggieTales. She said he wasn't going to be allowed to watch anything inappropriate. That day when I got home, I asked, did you watch VeggieTales? And he did. I emailed the administration. They assured me no VeggieTales. It is not an approved media to show the kids. It has never and will never be shown. The next week I asked, did you watch VeggieTales? Yep. And I reached out again and I'm told maybe my son is confused. Right. So I wait a week, ask my boss if I can leave early, walk past the receptionist, she told me to stop, but I didn't, into the main room, and boom, there it is. VeggieTales. I took a picture. I was given a warning for barging in. Fair. But the administration promised that VeggieTales thing would be solved. The teacher had to take all the tapes home and she would not be able to bring the tapes in ever again. The next week, did you watch VeggieTales? No, Dad. Great. The following week, did you watch VeggieTales? Yep. So I emailed again. At this point, it started getting other people involved. The anti-VeggieTales coalition. Even some of the Christian parents were annoyed. One woman watched it at home with her daughter and she said she didn't want to watch it at daycare because if her daughter has questions she wants to be asked, not the teacher. Great. Join the anti-VeggieTales collision. The resolution was that the teacher got fired. Now, there's backlash against me. People feel bad. They feel guilty. It's all my fault. I pressured them into making it a big deal. They're just animated vegetables. Even my wife pulled a me and went to the warpath. Am I an asshole or should she just have left her animated veggies at home? Okay, so if I'm being quite honest, I had no idea what the beef was with VeggieTales. Is that contradictive? But I was reading through the comments and it does seem like bringing religion into it, but I'm not going to get deep into religion, but it seems like people who believe certain things, this seems like a religious Christian daycare, and if you believe that way, there are certain things that VeggieTales talks about that usually they don't like, which is fair, especially if it is a Christian daycare and you put your kid into it. But religion or not, either way, I feel like if you are a parent who is vocalizing you don't want your child to watch something specific in daycare that you pay for, that is meant to kind of help your child develop in one way or the other, then it should just kind of be point blank at that, especially if you've asked numerous times, no matter what the context is or what the show is or anything along the lines of that. It just kind of seems sneaky regardless, and it just kind of seems like the daycare worker really isn't doing her job, which is supposed to be like looking after your kids, which yes, of course, I'm sure daycares, of course, like put things on the TV and, you know, maybe during like a close to nap time or something along that, I'm sure they get screen time, but also like there could have been alternatives to maybe not firing her specifically, but I do understand the frustration of the parent being asked over and over and over again, something you're clarifying that you don't want your young child to watch. But maybe also know that daycare is just not obviously talking about all daycares, but it's just notorious for not being like, a lot of parents don't want their children in daycare, maybe obviously for different reasons, but maybe just rely more on activities and building their brains, and, you know, of course, nap time and like snack time, but like more things that are going to be more interactive with them instead of just sticking them in front of a TV, because I feel like that also defeats the purpose of, obviously these parents need somebody to watch their child while they literally have to work, but they're spending a lot of money on just throwing their kids in front of a screen, and then on top of that, it being something that you're vocalizing you would not like your child to watch. Yes, it could be like, all right, maybe one child, but then they're building this little, like, you know, whatever they called it, what they call it? Basically, like, the group of everybody being against VeggieTales. So why is this preschool teacher continuously bringing in the same tape when it's been talked about and basically voiced that we don't want our children watching this show in one way or the other? So I do think that it is, I'm back and forth, because on one side, of course, I see like the frustration of the parent and the people who are paying for this. I don't know if she should have been fired necessarily, but I also don't think you're a complete a-hole either. It's like you were being very fair and vocalizing what you want for the place that you are literally paying for, and you reached out multiple times and you went to administration and they kind of are just like, you know, kind of brushing you off in a way. So I do see the frustration there too. So I don't have kids, but also like I know enough about children and been around enough children to where I can see where this could be frustrating. Again, I'm not like super religious or anything like that either. So when it comes to the actual example, I don't want to put too much onto it, because also like I barely watched VeggieTales growing up, but I know what it is to an extent, but I don't know all of like the background behind it and stuff like that too. So I don't have an exact thought process and path on the specific show, but just the overall idea of the parent coming in and vocalizing and it just kind of being swept under the rug and it keep happening over and over again. I do see the frustration in that. Story number 2. Am I the cutting off my sister after she went after my ex during our breakup and still rubs it in my face years later? Just from the title alone, I want to say and no. Let's see what this is all about. I, 21 female, am at a point where I'm seriously considering cutting off my sister and completely out of my life, and my family's acting like I'm heartless for it. My sister, Emily, 23 female, and I have never had a great relationship. She always needed to feel superior to me, especially when it comes to attention from men. Anytime I was dating someone, she would either criticize them nonstop or suddenly become very involved in my relationship. A few years ago, I was in a long-term relationship that ended badly. We didn't just take a break. We broke up, stayed completely broken up for a while. It was still extremely raw for me. I was devastated, barely functioning, and very open to my family about how much it hurt. Emily knew all of this. What I didn't know at the time was that during the breakup, she went after my ex. Not in a vague or flirty way. She actively pursued him. She messaged him repeatedly, escalated it, and sent him explicit photos. That was not accidental at all. Nothing long-term came out of it, but the fact that it happened at all completely destroyed my trust in her. I didn't find out until later, and when I confronted her, she admitted it without any shame. Her response was basically, "You weren't together anymore, so I didn't do anything wrong." What makes this even worse is that she has never let it go, even though we've been back together for almost a year now. Oh my god. Okay, let me see my reactions for after. Emily is now married and has a baby. You would think that that chapter would be long closed. It's not. She still brings it up. Little comments here and there. Jokes about how he always has had a thing for her. Smirking when his name comes up. Doing literally anything to get under my skin. Every time I try to tell her to stop, she turns it on me. She says I'm too sensitive and living in the past, and says I'm attacking her for just being honest. She also claims she's autistic, which my family treats as a blanket excuse for everything she does. If she's cruel, she didn't mean it that way. If she crosses boundaries, I'm told she should be more understanding. If I get upset, I'm accused of being ableist. But here's the thing. She is extremely selective about when this applies. She knows exactly how to push buttons. She knows when to smirk, when to drop a comment, when to act innocent. She only doesn't understand when she's being confronted. When I finally snapped and told her I'm done and didn't want a relationship with her anymore, my parents lost it. They told me I was cruel and holding on to something so old. They said she has a husband and child by now and I should be the bigger person. They told me cutting her off would punish the baby. No one has ever asked her to apologize. No one has ever told her to stop bringing it up. No one ever acknowledged how violating and humiliating it was. At this point, I don't feel safe around her emotionally. I don't trust her. I don't want her in my life. And I'm exhausted from being told that my hurt matters less than her comfort. So, am I the What the hell did I just read? Absolutely freaking not. You are not the a-hole. Are you kidding me? The fact that you're 21 and she's 23. Now she has, this all happened. You guys were together for a while. All this happened. The sister went after him and now she's married and has a baby. Like, either it's a fast timeline or like this happened when you were like 15. Either way, not downplaying your feelings, OP, at all, because what the hell? One, that's just breaking general girl code in general. Why would you go after her ex? Two, that's literally your sister. And then the fact to also like rub it in your face and kind of like bring it back up continuously when you have a baby, when you have a husband. What are you talking about? Why is this family backing her up? She's being enabled because clearly like she hasn't been told that she's wrong probably any time in her life. And OP has literally felt this clearly for a long time, that she always has to feel like she's superior to her. And it's like, why can't we just be sisters? It sucks. And I'm sure like you could come back from this 1000% down the line, but OP has tried time and time again and has taken so many beatings basically from this sister that I feel like the sister just needs to get something across that what she's doing is so wrong, was so wrong, and even if they left it in the past now, I feel like it could have, you know,
Ariana, what are you doing here?
Under the rug a little bit. But it's like the fact that the sister keeps bringing it up over and over again when she has a husband, when she has a baby, and also when OP and the boyfriend are actually back together. Like, what type of point are you trying to prove that, like, oh, I had him, so, like, you know, whatever, like, you guys weren't together, so what's the point? What are you talking about? That is your sister's ex. That is literally somebody that destroyed your sister. Honestly, OP, why are you back together with him? But that's besides the point. If he did crush you and all this, that's besides the point. But also the fact that you guys are back together and this sister literally keeps talking about it, and the fact that your family doesn't have your back in any way. It's like, not that they're like, oh, we don't want to be involved in the sister stuff. They're completely on the sister side of the wrong sister, and it's so ridiculous that you have to go through this. And I'm sorry that like you guys are so young, and like sister bonds, sister friendships, yeah, you guys are gonna fight. There's going to be tension. There's going to be times where literally you're just like, what the hell? But this is like a next level version of this, to where I am fully against like fully for not talking to her and, you know, kind of taking your piece, because this is ridiculous. If you have to figure yourself out and literally just like push away from clearly your parents, not saying avoid your parents and like, you know, break the relationship with them, but like you need space and time from this as a whole, because clearly they're going to keep going at this, and it's just going to be a repetitive cycle that's just going to probably drive you insane. So no, I don't think you're the a-hole for wanting and thinking of cutting her off. Maybe just, you know, take some time away, give some space. You don't have to necessarily say like, I'm cutting you off. More so like, all right, I need a break from you guys. And it's of course easier said than done, but like you were not in the wrong, OP, at all. I can't believe your sister went after him and now she has a husband and a baby and she's still bringing it up. Like, what type of like complex are you like having that like you feel good that you went after your sister's, not only your sister's ex, the sister's ex that literally went like basically destroyed you, and now they're back together, which probably isn't ideal, but that's besides the point again at this point, between everything that's happening right now, and like you're still bringing it up and you're still flexing it. Like, that's so weird. That's so weird in any case anyway. So sorry you had to go through this, OP, but no, you were not the a-hole. Story number 3. Am I the ruining my brother-in-law's favorite author for him? My 42 male wife, 42 female, and I have been together for about 20 years now. My wife is the oldest of 5, 42 female, 38 female, 36 female, 36 female, 20 male. That list is not a typo. My wife and I started dating near the end of her mom's pregnancy with Max, we'll call him. So it kind of feels like he's my little brother too. And for the most part, he's honestly been fine. Spoiled a bit, but up until he went to college, he was just a normal nerdy kid who happened to like rock climbing and weightlifting. We talk about LOTR and Star Trek, debate about ethics like Old Republic and that sort of stuff. When he went off to college out of state, it was hard on my wife and I too because we helped raise the boy, especially since our parents are not in the best shape for people in their 60s. But things took a turn the first winter break after he left for school. He started getting weirdly, I think the term malicious maybe, about odd things. He'd trash talk his other sisters, constantly complain about his mom, even say stuff about my wife directly to me. After we talked to him, by we, I mean his dad and me, since he wouldn't listen to anybody else, we ended up figuring out he was into some sort of what is known as the manosphere stuff. It was hard, but we ended up somehow over the next few months getting through to him. Getting him into a therapist and realizing that what he had chosen to engage with was wrong. Thankfully, we seem to have caught it early and that he's mostly returned to normal. But there's one thing he just won't freaking stop. And that's going off every time he hears anything religious. This all came to a head a few weeks ago after Christmas, New Year's, when Max was at the dining table popping off about a friend of his, my in-law's neighbor's kid actually, being an idiot for entering college late because he was on a Mormon mission. He just wouldn't stop ranting about it. My mother-in-law decided to change topics by bringing up a convention Max had gone to in Salt Lake City in December for his current favorite fantasy author. I'm sure some of you by now can see where this is going. The topic switch somehow worked, which meant Max then started gushing about the latest book, the people he met, all of it. I was super confused though, so I was like, Max, if you hate religious people so much, why are you obsessed with the devout Mormon author? I swear, it went quieter than a priest if he had lifted his legs and cut wind of the metal of mass. Max started to argue with me about it, but after searching the internet more than once, he stormed off into his room. It's been weeks and Max is basically refusing to talk to my wife or me. He also apparently is depressed and threw out all of his books by that author. My in-laws are blaming me for this, but my wife thinks he's old enough that he should been able to put two and two together and that we've done our best to help him his entire life, despite not even being his parents. So, am I the a**? No, I don't think you are the a**. I think that this kid is just a brat, honestly, and the fact that he's so stubborn to, one way or the other, again, not going super religious, but you brought up a good point. In just general, the fact that he's, so, vocal about being so, against what other people believe and this, that, and the other thing, and really kind of hating on it and stuff like that, and the fact that he was so obsessed with this author, he should have known, one, that he was coming from a different background to an extent. If it's his favorite author, he went to a convention for it and everything. And honestly, I feel like that was the perfect subtle but kind of classy little push that he needed to be all right, what the hell? I literally have been doing nothing but good for you and you're just coming back as such a big brat, basically. And the fact that you're just throwing this temper tantrum over something that I said, which is real, which isn't even hating against the author that you enjoy. I was just bringing up a topic and a point that makes sense, basically. No, I don't think you're the asshole. I just think it's kind of a subtle thing, oops, ruined your favorite author, that sucks. Maybe you should stop being a little jerk, basically. So I think it was just again, just the situation in general, not even informing religion into it. The fact that he's just so very passionate about the manosphere, which we're not, hopefully stop listening to whoever the hell. And just the fact that he was just basically being a complete jerk, and then you said something a little bit that was, one, true, but also bringing to light what he's hating against. It's yeah, no duh. It's not my fault that you didn't know this. And also, it's not my fault that you're basically just being a spoiled brat all in all. So no, you know what? Kind of put him in his place a little bit, because if he's not being a jerk to, if he's being a jerk to his family straight up, it's all right, you're just kind of help him, kind of curate into not a jerk on the outside world, because, there could be a path that leads to him just being just a terrible person overall. So I don't think you're the a-hole. And the last story. Am I the asshole for cutting off my best friend of 15 years because she went to my boyfriend's house? Uh-oh, let's see what this is about. I, 20 female, was dating my then boyfriend, 21 male. In the course of our relationship, I got sick and moved out of town that my boyfriend was in. I had a lot going on, which I did explain to my boyfriend, but for some reason he didn't seem to understand. So we started arguing and stopped talking for a while. A few weeks later, I met my best friend in the grocery store and we were catching up. and she mentioned that she went to visit my boyfriend, who then cooked for her. When I tried to ask her what she was doing in that town, because it is a bit far, she didn't answer and started talking about other things. I confronted my then boyfriend, and he said that yes, she slept at his place, but nothing happened. We ended up breaking up. I blocked my friend and stopped talking to her. We are family friends, and one day visited with her mother, and she was asking why my calls don't go through, and her messages too. I told her that I don't want to talk to her because she betrayed me. She was mad and started shouting, saying I was overreacting and that nothing happened between her and my ex. And she says that that does not guarantee me cutting her off. Am I the asshole here? Did I overreact? Absolutely not. What the hell? Again, girl code. Best friend of 15 years, basically literally sisters. Your family friends on top of it. So that's literally like you guys are related without being related. And again, girl code being broken like left and right. Why the hell are you traveling to your best friend's boyfriend's house in their time of like weariness and to a town that's clearly farther away? You're staying the night. He's cooking you dinner. What the hell? What the hell? There's no way in the situation that this is appropriate or nice or good. And like you guys are in your early 20s too, so it's like you guys are like, she's ruining your friendship right from the start for this guy that literally is like, you guys were going back and forth. He was not even hearing you out that you were sick and you didn't feel good. Like he clearly is not the best boyfriend in general. And also just like your friend was like, the fact that she was, I'm like speechless over this one because it's like, what the hell? Why would you even think that's a good idea to even do? And why are you so defensive and thinking that it was like not even a big deal? Like you're clearly, one, they could say nothing happened. We all know damn well something one way or the other happened. Why are you sleeping over? He's making you dinner. This was obviously pre-planned. You guys literally, you drove to him too. So it's like, this is also sketchy. You see her in the grocery store and you're literally avoiding the question and basically like changing the topic. So it's like, girl, again, just kind of like with the other story, space and distance yourself. I'm glad that you kept saying like my then boyfriend, like we're broken up. I'm glad you have that self-worth, especially so young. It's so easy to maybe like go back to him in a way or another, but no, you do not need either of them in your life right now. It sucks because I don't want to say like cut the girl, like your best friend off forever, but also too, like you do not need that in your life regardless. So again, just kind of distance. I think it was kind of a good thing to especially block him, but you know, maybe block her number for a while. Don't talk to her for a while until she realizes like what she did was so wrong and like she should value your guys' friendship. Again, the trust is broken. There is kind of very little to do to repair it. I'm not saying it can't be completely irreparable, but also, is that a word? But I'm just like, I'm so pissed off at this one because it's like, why would you do that to your best friend of 15 years? Are you joking? And to the fact of it being like, but we didn't do anything. Yes, you did. You drove, you planned, you went there, you slept there. There is nothing like friendshipy about this. This was all weird and schemy and like slimy. So no, you were a bad friend, not OP, obviously the best friend. It's like, why would you not expect OP1 to find out, and then also 2 not to be pissed off at you? So no, OP, you are not the a-hole. I am, again, so sorry you have to go through this. What did you think of this video stories? Be sure to chit chat with me in the comments below what you thought about each story, whether they were a-hole or not. Just your tidbits, your comments, please let me know. And if you've made it this far, please drop a little angry emoji because these stories made me angry for the most part. Broke girl code, people just not listening to people. And also, if you've made it this far, on top of like your comments and thoughts on each story, give me your thoughts. We want to chit chat here. Give me a little emoji comment on what your beverage of choice was today. And if you have any recommendations on TikTok trends, different Reddit threads that I can go down, anything above, I'm kind of leaning into the all kind of commentary, and I'm going to start, you know, just kind of dabbling into different things. So I enjoy talking to you. I enjoy hearing from you. So again, be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, all the YouTube things, so that we can continue building this gal pal community and do all the chit chatting over here on Chit Chatting with Kate Carr. How many times can I say chit chatting? Let's stop it here. I appreciate you so much for tuning into another video. Be sure to watch any of these previous videos that, you know, might stick out to you and let me know your thoughts on those as well. I'll talk to you soon. Bye!